So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, trying to wrap my brain around the last couple of days. When my higher self talks to the collective, which is me, it says you. When I am thinking, I will say I. When I am projecting from a lower frequency, I will say you. Do you understand? So somebody that does not have clear definition of the internal role of the collective, the emotion, the thought, the subconscious, the ego, and the high conscious or high brain and consciousness, if they do not communicate well, we project. So it is when we communicate, when we gain a sense of consciousness through healing, we establish a role. Each part of the collective has a role, and in that role we define who does what. Higher knowledge is expressed from consciousness. Thought in communicating and sharing information from one person to the other. When I refer to I did this and I did that, I'm coming from thought. When I'm saying you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do these, that is either coming from an unhealed version of self, which is ego and projection, or a healed version of self, a higher frequency, is consciousness. Because when people go, you need to do this, you need to do that, and they're projecting onto you. Different than when I'm talking to consciousness. I'm talking through consciousness into the collective, and you're viewing that conversation. You're experiencing that conversation. There is a difference here. A very significant difference on how we talk to ourselves and how we communicate. We are programmed in such a way to not gain consciousness. When you gain consciousness, you can determine who, what, where, when, how, and why. And when your higher consciousness talks, everybody fucking stops and listens. Because that is the knowledge. You run the show. Does that make sense? So, from a lesser version of self, a lesser healed version of self, we will tend to use I or you. I as in self, you as in the recipient of my projection. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. What the fuck are you doing? Get your shit together. Blah, 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 blah. That is a projection. Higher consciousness does not communicate that way. It is always a reflection of self. Lower consciousness is always a projection of self. So when we communicate, how you communicate, how you think, is a direct reflection of self. So if you're emotionally triggered, you're going to trigger that self and project it out to the other person. But actually, it's you. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Higher level thinking. You can do this. Keep following. Keep listening. Review this, and review this. If you don't understand, review this. Wrap your brain around higher thought, consciousness, lesser thought, ego, emotions, unhealed version of self, projection. All of this is wrapped up to a nice little ball of chaos that you need to unravel. Gain consciousness through healing. Quiet your mind. Take control of that. Then heal. After you build a foundation and you take control and you don't get crap coming into your mind and distracting you. That's all ego and that's all programming and that's all bullshit. Navigate this in a way that is a complete dedication to self. Sacrificing, yes, you have to sacrifice. You have to get rid of those things that distract you from self. And when you're capable of doing this, you'll gain a higher level of consciousness through healing. And every time you heal a cycle, you get a greater reward, a higher level of consciousness, a greater sense of spirituality. It's. I have trouble finding the words to best describe the implications of this higher consciousness. I am just stepping into now, unfolding the programming and seeing what remains is absolutely breathtaking. I allow my higher consciousness to express itself, to teach the collective how to interact, how to work, how to navigate, how to communicate with self, self being the collective. It is absolutely new to what I believed a person is capable of navigating and how they are capable of healing, and the value and worth that is self when you heal through all these things and you become the collective. You become everything that you could possibly become. You tap into your DNA, you tap into the blueprinting, all this knowledge, it starts coming forward, and the more you heal, the more you unlock. You literally can physically heal yourself by raising your frequency. I'm going to try to continue making videos that as I learn this stuff, as it unfolds, as it presents itself to me, and I will share this with those that are wishing to see it and hear it and understand it. And don't forget, when I'm saying you, my higher self is talking to me, the collective, not the viewer of this video. Wow. All this before 7:30 in the morning, and not even had my cup of coffee yet. My brain just loves this stuff. Self